Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Very, very grateful to each and every one of you. So we are on our journey through Bhagavad Gita and we have reached chapter 4. So we'll start chapter 4 today. Chapter 3, does anyone have any questions? Any concepts or verses that were not clear? It opened with basically Arjuna's question. So just within 5 minutes, let's recap it. It opened with Arjuna's question where he wanted to know if he should work or renounce. So whether he should act or fight in this war versus he should give up this war and take up Gyan Marg, Gyan Yoga. So the question is between Karma Yoga versus Gyan Yoga. So Krishna very clearly tells him that at this level, at this point of time, you should be engaged in work, you should be action oriented, you should fight. But your spirit of work should be that of renunciation. So you should act, but with renunciation. So don't renounce the work, but work with renunciation. It's the spirit of renunciation that matters in an action and not giving up the action itself. So he said that giving up the action is not recommended at this point, and he gives up. Krishna gives many reasons for why an ordinary person, a person who is still attached to this world, engaged in this world, who has so many desires, who is controlled by the three modes, who is not very pure, not very self-realized, such an ordinary person should stay engaged in work. So he gives many reasons for why one should work. Then, after that topic, Krishna talks about working with renunciation, and he mentions that how sacrifice or yajna were installed in this creation at the very beginning of this creation. Yajna or sacrifice is a system that was installed at the very beginning of this creation for the purpose of purification of our existence. So whenever we do some work, since our existence is not very pure, we do those work for our enjoyment, to fulfill our desires in this world. We should try to do that work with uh, doing some sacrifice at the on the side also. So which means that we should give some money, we should do some fire sacrifice, we should maybe invite brahmanas or Vaishnavas to our homes, we should maybe give money for some spiritual activities to the temples. And in this way, we can purify the money, our work, our existence gradually. So the system of sacrifice or yajna was initiated at the very beginning of this creation. And that's why when we eat, we should eat after offering or eat with sacrifice, which is called prasadam. And if one accepts things from this world without doing a sacrifice, without first offering them to the God, then they're just a thief, because everything is property of God. And if we are not offering those things to God, not using those in service of God, and just taking from Him without any gratitude, then that's like stealing. And that brings you sinful reactions. That gives you sinful reactions. So the importance of yajna was mentioned. And then Krishna again talked about working with sacrifice is important because that will gradually purify you. It will bring knowledge, detachment, self-realization, and purification of desires in your heart. But until your heart becomes pure, until you become more advanced, you should stay engaged in work. Then he also mentioned about certain advanced souls that are okay to give up work. Like he gives example of Janak Maharaj. He also gives his own example that there is no work meant for me. We do not, people like myself or Janak Maharaj or people like Janak Maharaj that are very pure souls, they do not have any purpose in working. They're not working to fulfill any desires or to enjoy this world or for some name, fame, benefits, money, reputation, followers, nothing like that. They are very detached people. They have very advanced knowledge, yet they are working to set an example. So basically, Krishna tells Arjun that if you are attached in this world, you have impure desires, then you should work to purify those desires, to purify your existence, to cultivate gradual detachment and knowledge. But if you think you are a very advanced person who can give up work, even then you should keep working because you are a leader, and a leader like Janak Maharaj should stay engaged in work, because otherwise ordinary people will get confused. Ordinary people will also start whimsically giving up their duties, their responsibilities. So in future, basically people will quote Arjuna's example and say, look, Arjuna didn't do his duty. Arjuna did not fight in the war when he was supposed to. He let the criminals and violent people rule in this world. So maybe it's okay if I don't take up this uncomfortable work. He was uncomfortable at fighting that war, so he gave up that war. I'm also uncomfortable doing my duty. I don't want to do this work either. So ordinary people who are not advanced will also start prematurely giving up work. And people that prematurely give up work before they are ready for sannyas, for Gyan Marg, those people are pretenders. They are fake spiritualists. They are mithyachari. I don't want you to become like that. So whether you are on low level, stay engaged in work, or if you think you are at higher level, still stay engaged in work to set an example as a Kshatriya, as a leader of the society. And then Arjun asks a question, another question in this chapter from Krishna, that why do we commit sinful activities or some criminal activities in this world, negative activities, even though we know that those are adharma or those will generate sinful reactions? Why do we feel compelled to engage in such harmful activities? So Krishna says it's because of lust or because of impure desires to enjoy this world. So we do not have service mentality, we have enjoyer mentality. And we discussed about desires. We discussed how certain desires are very harmful. They should be given up completely. They are tamasic. Actually, I think Pooja Mataji asked that question, a very nice question, that if I want something in this world, does it automatically mean lust? So we discussed that certain desires do mean lust because they're very, very tamasic. They are very harmful for our existence and for other people around us. Those should be immediately given up. Certain desires are sattvic and they can be dovetailed in service of Krishna. They can be engaged in service of Krishna. Those desires should be purified in such a way that they uplift our spiritual activities, they enhance our spiritual activities. And certain are in mode of passion. Some of those can be given up, some of those can be engaged. So not all desires are harmful. Certain desires can be dovetailed, but certain desires are completely grossly harmful and those should be given up. So we will have to use our intelligence. So Krishna ultimately says that there is a hierarchy in our body. So senses should be controlled by mind should be controlled by intelligence, and intelligence is controlled by soul. So soul is the one that desires. Soul can control this hierarchy. Soul can decide to be the master of the intelligence. Intelligence will be the master of the mind, and then mind should control the senses. This is the correct direction that hierarchy should move. So basically, Krishna says that the first point of contact for us in this world is intelligence. So we should have a very mature intelligence. We should cultivate spiritual intelligence, very refined intelligence, which is called discrimination. And we discussed that there are two functions of intelligence: discrimination and determination. So the intelligence will discriminate between what is good, what is bad, what should be given up completely, what can be dovetailed, and what should be taken up actively, energetically. And once you decide with your mature intelligence what that is, then you, with determination, engage in that particular practice. Whether it's giving up certain things, be determined to give up those things. If you have to actively, aggressively engage in certain things that are very helpful, then be determined to do those things, like waking up early, eating prasadam, reading scriptures, attending Bhagavad Gita class, whatever, those things that you think are very, very helpful to you, then actively engage in those things with determination. And certain things with discrimination you can dovetail while in the service of Krishna. So this is the summary of chapter 3, and we will move on to chapter 4. Is that clear to everyone? Are we okay to start chapter 4 today?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So let's start from chapter 4. It's called transcendental knowledge. Okay. So transcendental, I hope everybody is familiar with this word because Prabhupada uses this word a lot in Bhagavad Gita. Transcendental means something that transcends this material world. So transcends means something that is beyond, something that is beyond the perception of our senses, beyond the perception of our limited knowledge, beyond the perception of our mind. It's not very gross, it's it's spiritual, it's divine, it's holy, it's sacred. Okay, it does not belong to this world, it comes from another world or the spiritual world. So that is transcendental. So we have to when we say we have to transcend, means we have to go beyond our material existence. So this knowledge will take us beyond our material knowledge into the realms of the spiritual world. So we'll start from first verse. This is very beautiful chapter. The first few verses will give us the history of Bhagavad Gita. So let's start. We'll do lead and follow. 4.1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Imam Vivasvate Yogam. Imam Vivasvate Yogam. Proktavan Avyayam.
Proktavan aham avyayam.
Vivasvan manave praha.
Vivasvan manave praha.
Manur ikshvakave bravet.
Manur ikshvakave bravet.
I will keep telling you what are the memory verses from this chapter. Please feel free to memorize those. This first verse is a memory verse. Okay. Of course, there are many other verses that are more important than this one. But I'll tell you the ones that Prabhupada quotes a lot and that I have personally memorized, and that are very much quoted by our teachers when you hear their classes. So this verse is a memory verse. So let's look at the Sanskrit. So Krishna is speaking. What is he saying? Imam vivasvate yogam. Imam yogam. So he says this science, now Krishna is giving us, so all this science that you just heard, right? I just gave you a summary of chapter 3. So Krishna says this science was spoken by me to Vivaswan. Proktavan, spoken, aham, by me, avyayam, this imperishable or indestructible supreme science was spoken by me to Vivaswan. Okay, Vivaswan is sun god. So Vivaswan is the name of our current sun god. Right now, the sun god is called Vivaswan. That's his name. Vivaswan manve praha. And Vivaswan spoke it to Manu. Vivaswan manve praha. Manve means he spoke it to Manu. Manu, as you know, is the father of mankind or one of the progenitors. One of the jivas that is empowered by Brahmaji to bring generations of living entities into this world. So he's one of the progenitors. Okay, progenitors means someone who brings living entities into this world. So he helps in this, in populating this world, this creation. So that's Manu, father of mankind. Okay, Vivaswan, sun god, spoke it to Manu. Manur Ikshvaku Bravit. Manu then spoke it to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku is name of one of his sons. So Manu has, of course, many sons, right? Because he's in charge of populating the earth. So Manu has many sons. One of his sons is a very celebrated king called Ikshvaku. Okay, Ikshvaku. So Manu spoke it to Ikshvaku. So this is the sequence. Krishna spoke it to sun god Vivaswan. Vivaswan spoke this knowledge to Manu, the father of mankind, one of the progenitors from Brahmaji. And Manu spoke it to King Ikshvaku. Okay. Now let's read the translation and purport. Can somebody read this?
Yes, I can read.
Yes.
Herein, we find the history of Bhagavad Gita traced.
No, can you read the translation?
Okay. The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan. And Vivaswan instructed.
Vivaswan. So when we have diacritic on A, that's A, otherwise it's A. So Vivaswan.
But there is no diacritic on this Vivaswan.
Yes, there on A, you see the diacritic, you see the line. So that makes it A, Van.
One is okay. Vivaswan. Okay.
Yes.
Take Vivaswan. Yes. And Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku.
And this is Sh. So Ikshvaku. This is so
Ikshvaku.
in So when S has a dot under, it becomes Sh. Ikshvaku.
Ikshvaku.
Yes, please go ahead.
Herein we find the history of Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order of all planets, beginning from the sun planet. The kings of all planets are especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path utilizing the opportunity of human form of life.
Okay, let's pause here. So again, Krishna spoke this. Krishna is giving the history or how the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita descends to mankind. Okay, so this is eternal knowledge. This is transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge coming from spiritual world from Krishna. But how does it descend to the human world? It was spoken by Krishna to sun god Vivaswan, sun god to Manu, Manu to Ikshvaku. So Ikshvaku is the king, one of the kings in previous ages. And if you remember, Ikshvaku is a Kshatriya. And so this is coming to the line of, to the royal order, to the Kshatriyas. So I'll just, Prabhupada's purport is very easy to understand. I'll just highlight 2 or 3 points from it. The most important point Prabhupada is making in the first paragraph is that this knowledge should be given to the royal order. So royal order basically means the rulers, the administrative class or the Kshatriyas. Because if the kings, the saintly kings understand this knowledge, then they can impart this knowledge to the citizens and they can rule their kingdom in such a way which is consistent with the principles of Bhagavad Gita, which is consistent with the instructions of Krishna. So basically they will be doing their duty in line, in alignment with God. Okay, and they will bring their citizens into utilizing the human lives to the best of their ability. So basically they will cultivate spiritual knowledge in amongst their citizens also, so that citizens will also be able to utilize their human life to the best possible um, uh, purpose and achieve perfection of life. So Prabhupada is making this point that all the executive heads of all the states, all the administrators, all the leaders, not only on this planet, but all planets, they're obliged to impart this lesson to their citizens. So there should be proper culture of knowledge. Of course, this is degraded in Kali Yuga, and we see that there is no such knowledge being imparted. Even in India, which is the hub of all spiritual knowledge, we see that the knowledge has, it has been completely uprooted out of our schools, and practically no one knows the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita at all. So, but this imperishable science should be taught very properly, very systematically, in a very relevant, practical manner, so that people can apply it, adapt in their life. In such a way, this knowledge, this great science should be taught to all the people. And that is possible only for leaders have this knowledge at the very beginning. But the problem is our leaders are not saintly. In the past ages, these used to be Raj Rishi or used to be saintly kings. So that's why they had all this knowledge, and this knowledge was being transmitted from one king to another, from generation to generation. It was moving forward in a very transparent way, and people's lives were getting transformed. But right now, the knowledge has become disrupted, so there is no proper transmission of knowledge, and so we do not see anybody practicing this knowledge. But actually, in order to utilize human form of life properly, the leaders should be very well versed in this knowledge. And of course, leaders, does not only mean royal order, does not only mean Kshatriyas, it also means our teachers, our parents, our well-wishers, whoever is in a senior position should be well-versed in this knowledge. Basically, Bhagavatam tells you that you cannot become a guru, you cannot become a father, a mother, a parent. You have no right to become a demigod. You have no right to become a teacher unless you're well-versed in this knowledge and you can relieve your dependents from the material existence. So ultimate goal of liberation, of relieving oneself from the material bondage should be very clear to the leaders. Let's keep reading. Who wants to read the next couple paragraphs?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. In this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivaswan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system.
You can just read the
Ji
verse.
Mataji. Let me worship. Lord Brahma said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, and under whose order the sun, which is the king of all planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. Can you pull up, Mataji, please? The sun is the king of the planets and the sun god, at present of the name Vivaswan, rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. He is rotating under the order of Krishna, and Lord Krishna originally made Vivaswan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is not therefore a speculative treatise for the insignificant mundane scholar, but is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. In the Mahabharata, we can trace out the history of the Gita as follows.
You can again read the verse.
In the beginning of the millennium, known as Treta Yuga, this science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivaswan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet and forefather of the Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaja Ikshvaku.
Mataji, let's take a pause for a second, for a couple minutes. So, just a couple of points to highlight. So, Prabhupada is describing this lineage of Bhagavad Gita in which Bhagavad Gita descends. So, he's speaking about Vivaswan, the sun god or the king of the sun planet. So, this is the name of the current sun god. As you know from before, we have discussed this before many times, that the sun god is a position which changes every so often. Similarly, Brahma is not name of a person, Brahma is a position. So similarly, Indra is not name of a person, Indra is a position. And the names of the current Indra, the names of the current Brahma, let's say current Vayudev, they're all given in our scriptures. Okay. So as they change, those personalities change, and a different person occupies that position of Indra or that position of Vayu, that position of Sun, that position of Brahma, like that, and many other. Of course, there are many other demigods like that. So you remember that these demigods, they are administrators of this cosmic creation, administrators employed by the Supreme Lord to run this world in a very systematic way. And each administrator, each demigod has a certain function. So they control certain aspects of the material world, certain elements of the material world, certain senses of our body, certain material elements, basically. Like sun, without sun god, we cannot see. So he controls our vision because we cannot see unless there is light. Our eyes need light to see. So sun god is very much related to our, we need a deity that controls our senses. So each sense organ of our body is controlled by a certain deity. Like our tongue, for example, is controlled by Ashwini Kumaras. Our ears are controlled by somebody else, right? Our nose is controlled by some other deity. Like that, each deity, each demigod has a certain function. Now, of course, Bhagavad Gita gives us very prelim knowledge, very basic, very foundational knowledge of all the spiritual science. Our spiritual science is very deep, and if you want to know more details, the next step will be to read Srimad Bhagavatam, where all this Sankhya Yoga, all this creation of various material elements and who is in charge of which element and which element comes in which sequence, all these things are given in detail in other scriptures, but the next scripture to read would be Srimad Bhagavatam. So one of the things I wanted to highlight was that this is the name of a position, that's sun god. Vivaswan is the current sun god. And then Prabhupada is saying, so sun god gave it to Vivaswan, sun god gave it to Manu, and Manu gave it to his son, which is Ikshvaku. So if you know, Ikshvaku is one of the foremost Surya Vamshis, from whom the Surya Vamshi lineage comes. So King Raghu comes in the lineage of Ikshvaku. Okay, and further descendant of King Raghu is Lord Ramachandra. So Lord Ramachandra appeared in the Raghu dynasty, or you can say in the Ikshvaku's dynasty. That's why he's Surya Vamshi. So this is just wanted to show you the lineage or the descendants of great kings from to whom this knowledge was imparted one after another. And this knowledge was very pure at that time. It was transmitted in a very transparent, very pure manner from one generation to another. Let's read the last paragraph. In this last paragraph, many numbers are mentioned. You don't have to mention the numbers. I will, if you can just read, whoever is going to read, and then I'll give you a breakdown of this number, the relevant breakdown for this numbers in a summarized fashion. Can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
At the present moment, we have just passed through 5,000 years of Kali Yuga. Before this, there was Dwapar Yuga, and before that, there was Treta Yuga. Thus, some 2,005,000 years ago, Manu spoke the Bhagavad Gita to his disciple and son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earth planet. The age of the current Manu is calculated to last some
You can skip this
300.
number.
Okay. Okay. Accepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, sun god Vivaswan. A rough estimate is that Gita was spoken at least 120,400,000 years ago, and in human society it has been exact for 2 million years. It was re-spoken by the Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years ago. That is the rough estimate of the history of Gita. According to Gita itself and according to the version of speaker Lord Shri Krishna, it was spoken to sun god Vivaswan because he is also Kshatriya and is father of all Kshatriyas who are descendant of the sun god or the Surya Vamsa Kshatriya. Because Bhagavad Gita is as good as Vedas being spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead, this knowledge is aparusheya, superhuman. Since the Vedic instructions are accepted as they are without human interpretation, Gita must therefore be accepted without mundane interpretation. The mundane wranglers may speculate on the Gita in their own ways, but that is not Bhagavad Gita as it is. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has to be accepted as it is from the disciplic succession, and it is therefore herein, it's described herein that the Lord spoke to sun god, the sun god spoke to his son Manu, and Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. So towards the end, it's easy to understand because Prabhupada is talking about this lineage again, that how one person is transmitting to the next person in their generation. And these are all Kshatriyas. So these are the leaders. This is the royal order that will rule. And so they will set up a very advanced spiritual society in their kingdom. It will not just be society meant for enjoyment, but actually society aimed at achieving perfection of life, achieving reawakening relationship with God. So it will be, they will rule the society in such a way that everybody has the central interest at heart, which means to go back to Godhead. So they will all aim for liberation. Okay, but and then so he also talked about Surya Vamsha Kshatriyas. We understand that. In the end, Prabhupada said that we should hear knowledge from somebody who has learned it from a previous bona fide speaker, and that's called a disciplic succession. We'll talk about disciplic succession more in the next verse. Disciplic succession basically means Guru Shishya Parampara. Only that person can become a guru who has a bona fide guru above before themselves. So somebody has to, you have to learn this supreme science from a guru yourself. You have to go to that school of Krishna, this Krishna's university. You have to attend this university. You have to learn it from a bona fide, qualified, authentic source. Only then you will teach it to the next person, and that next person has learned it from their guru, who is a bona fide person, will now teach it to the next person. In this chain of succession is called Guru Shishya Parampara. Only then knowledge will be transmitted as it is, Prabhupada is saying, in a very pure way. Okay. I will explain some of these numbers to you. I don't expect that it's to anyone to remember this, but just whatever you can remember, and this will come more in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So our first topic, just so you understand, first topic we are understanding in this chapter is history of Bhagavad Gita. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So first is history of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So so Prabhupada is saying in about Manus. Okay. We said that the sun god gave this knowledge to his son Manu. Okay. Manu gave this knowledge to his son Ikshva. Okay. Ikshva was they're all Kshatriyas. So this is Surya Vamsha dynasty. And Krishna gave it to sun god. So this is the lineage that we have learned. Now, in purport, Prabhupada is giving all these numbers in the last paragraph. What do those numbers mean? So that is basically describing the lifespan of Brahmaji and lifespan or the rule of a Manu. Okay. So you need to know that one day of Brahmaji, okay, I'm just simplifying it a lot. One day of Brahmaji has 1,000 Chatur Yugas. Okay, 1,000 Chatur Yugas, or you can say Divya Yugas. They're also called Divya Yugas or Chatur Yugas. One Chatur Yuga is comprising of, so first of all, what is the first Yuga in the sequence of Chatur Yuga? The first Yuga?
Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar, and Kali Yuga.
Yes, perfect. So Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and then Kali Yuga, right? This is the sequence of the Chatur Yugas. Kali Yuga. So the age of Kali, I'm hoping everybody can remember this. Just remember this number at least.
432,000.
Right. Okay. Then the age of Dwapar is twice that of Kali Yuga. Okay. Age of Treta is 3 times that of Kali Yuga. And age of Satya is 4 times that of Kali Yuga. So this is whatever this number comes out to be, this is the number of years a Chatur Yuga or Divya Yuga lasts. Okay, so this is a long time. 1,000 such Chatur Yugas make up one day of Brahmaji. Okay, 1,000 such Chatur Yugas make up one day of Brahmaji. In one day of Brahmaji come 14 Manus. 14 Manus, okay? You can think of Manus as, so Manu is father of mankind. You can think of Manus as like taking shifts, like a watchman, right? We have people that take shifts, right? Like you will cover this to this. Like for example, in my work, there is shift. You have to cover from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Or 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., something like that. So people have shifts in their work. Similarly, in one day of Brahmaji, 14 Manus come and go. Okay. Anybody remembers the name of the first Manu? The very first Manu in this particular day of Brahmaji in which we are right now? The first Manu was Swayambhu Manu. Okay. There are details given about Swayambhu Manu in Srimad Bhagavatam. And who is the current Manu that's currently in this right now? Who's ruling?
Vivaswan?
Yes, no. Vivaswan is sun god. So Vivaswan jaisa hi naam hai, similar to Vivaswan. Who can? I'm trying to find the eraser on this. Vivasvat Manu, right?
Vivaswat, yes, Vivaswat.
Vivasvat. So it comes from Vivaswan only, Vivasvat Manu. So Sorry, I can't find it. Okay, anyway, Vivasvat Manu. Vivasvat Manu. This is not, it's okay if you don't remember or know this. Anyway, so 14 Manus come, okay? So which means 1000 Chatur Yugas in one day of Brahmaji and 14 Manus, okay? Which means each Manu rules for about, if you divide this, grossly comes to 70 Chatur Yuga. Each Manu rules for about 70 Chatur Yugas, okay? So so right now, this knowledge, so Prabhupada is calculating when did this particular knowledge of Bhagavad Gita has to be renewed, has to be reinstated, reinstalled every so often, periodically, during our existence, during the material creation. So this particular knowledge of Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is talking about, when he gave it to Sun God, Prabhupada is calculating that. So if Vivaswan Manu came about 70 Chaturyugas back, let's say, so that's accordingly Prabhupada has calculated. That's how old this current knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is. But over this 70 Chaturyugas, this knowledge has become very much deteriorated, very much degraded. And so 5,000 years back, this knowledge was again reinstated by Krishna. Now he's giving it to different line of Kshatriyas. Now he's giving it to Arjuna. Okay, he's giving it to Arjuna, who is a Kshatriya. But who is going to compile this knowledge and transmit it further? Arjuna is not known to have any disciples, right? Arjuna did not give this knowledge to anyone. So, but who is giving this particular knowledge 5,000 years back? This knowledge is given by? Huh?
So Krishna is giving the knowledge. Vyasadeva is documenting everything in
Vyasadeva.
Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata.
Yes, so this knowledge is basically being given by Vyasadeva, because Vyasadeva is documenting this conversation between the two people 5,000 years back. So this knowledge was, so Krishna is saying, in basically in this particular timeline, this knowledge was given by him to Sun God to Vivaswan or Vivasvat Manu. We gave it to Vivasvat Manu, and then to Ikshvaku. So this has become very old, and now he's giving it to Arjuna. If you can't remember all of this, it's fine. Just remember that one day of Brahmaji is very long, and we are in a particular day, in a particular yuga of that day. And a certain Manu is ruling, and the name of that Manu is Vivasvat Manu. The name of our current sun god is Vivaswan. And Krishna gave this knowledge a long time back to sun god. Let's keep reading, things will become more clear. Let's read second verse. This is again memory verse, very, very important verse, very important. Please try to memorize if possible. Evam parampara praptam. Evam parampara praptam. Imam rajarishayo vidhu. Imam rajarishayo vidhu. Sakalanneha mahata. Sakalanneha mahata. Yogo nashta parantapa.
Yogo nashta parantapa.
Can somebody read the translation?
Yeah, I will read. The
Yes,
supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appeared to be lost.
Krishna. So let's look at Sanskrit. Evam. So the key, I'll just tell you the keywords. Parampara, we discussed just now. Parampara refers to the disciplic succession, the Guru Shishya Parampara. So Parampara means a tradition of knowledge, basically. The knowledge should be transmitted through a bona fide guru to a qualified disciple. So that is Guru Shishya Parampara. And in this way, this knowledge was transmitted to Raj Rishis. So it was known, Vidu means known. This knowledge was known to Raj Rishis. Raj Rishi means saintly kings. So not like the kings or rulers of our time nowadays. These were Raj Rishis. For example, you know many Raj Rishis, like Yudhishthir Maharaj is a Raj Rishi, or Parikshit Maharaj is a saintly king, Ambrish Maharaj is a saintly king. Like that, Prahlad Maharaj was a saintly king. Like that, there were many Raj Rishis. Okay, so they are Raja, but they're also saintly. So they're very well versed in this spiritual science, in this supreme knowledge, in this yoga. Sa Kala Neha Mahata. Now, this Kala Neha word is important here. It's a combination of Kalena plus Iha. It's a Sandhi, or it's a combination of Kalena and Iha. Iha means in this world, Kal means time. So in this world, because of the influence of time, because of the power of time, this knowledge became destroyed. Yogo nashta, or became lost. Not that the knowledge can be destroyed, but it's not being transmitted properly. It's not being transferred any further. So it became lost. Yogo nashta. So this yog, this supreme science, this knowledge became lost. Parantapa, O subduer of enemy. Parantapa is a name of Arjun. So this knowledge that was received by saintly kings through this Guru Shishya Parampara, eventually by the influence of time became destroyed or lost. This is what this succession, this chain. So Parampara is also called a chain of disciplic succession. Guru Shishya succession is a chain, because one after another, these are linked together. Guru is Guru and Shishya, then Guru and Shishya, they're linked together like a chain. This chain was unbroken for a long time, but then this chain or succession got broken, and the science appears to be lost. Prabhuji, you want to keep reading? Purport.
Mataji, can I read? I
Yes,
will.
Prabhu.
Yeah. It is clearly stated that the Gita was especially meant for the saintly kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demonic persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the unscrupulous commentators, therefore, there arose the need to establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord Himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore He declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment also, there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are immeasurable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. The spirit is demonic because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English as it is received by the Parampara, disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. Thanks,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for reading. So let's take, I have 3 points here to share with you. So the first point is that the knowledge has to be given as it is. As it is, and that's why you know that Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is called Bhagavad Gita as it is, because the Bhagavad Gita can be interpreted by people according to their limited intelligence. Okay, so people may derive some meaning of various verses of Bhagavad Gita according to their own limited understanding, what we call their speculations, or they may concoct something according to their mental concoctions. They come up with certain interpretations. Okay, So basically, people may use like a, let's say, a source, one verse of Bhagavad Gita, and use it for some personal agenda, like let's say for some social cause or nationalistic cause, even like some terroristic cause, some violent cause, what not. They may say, oh, but basically Krishna wants Arjun to fight. Everyone should fight for their country. So we need to fight. Whether or not that war is justified, whether or not that war is being fought according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita, will not be taken into account, but the only meaning they're taking is that one has to fight. So some or that Krishna is teaching, let's say they may say Krishna is teaching violence. We have to be very aggressive. We have to be very violent and protect our property or something like that. So they may give their own interpretations to suit the needs of their personal cause, their own agenda, like a nationalistic cause, social cause, whatever, something like that. So Prabhupada is making this very important point that who can speak Bhagavad Gita? Who should be one's guru? The guru should be in line with Krishna. Guru's knowledge should be coming directly from Krishna. And that is called a disciplic succession. Disciplic succession means it has to start from Krishna. It has to start from God. That particular guru is bona fide only if he comes in a Vaishnav tradition. There are many Vaishnav paramparas. He has to come, and they're all originating from Krishna only. Okay, so like we come in Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So that a disciplic succession basically means that the knowledge was given by Krishna to Brahmaji, and from Brahmaji to Narad Muni, and from Narad Muni to Vyasadev, from Vyasadev to Shukdev Goswami, from Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj and Sut Goswami, from Sut Goswami to sages of Naimisharanya, like that, right? That knowledge is going. Now, this disciplic succession is mentioned in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. So if you have your book, please look at your book. On my screen, you can see the disciplic succession is mentioned. Let me open it. You can open your own Bhagavad Gita and see the disciplic succession mentioned. This. So Bhagavad Gita, this is on this page. The whole chain is given. So this says the disciplic succession. And Prabhupada has quoted this verse 4.2, Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarishayo Vidu Sakalaneha Mahata Yogo Nashta Parantapa. So from Krishna to Brahmaji, Brahmaji to Narad Muni, Narad Muni to Vyasadev, Vyasadev to Madhvacharya, then a whole bunch of acharyas are mentioned, ultimately coming to Lord Chaitanya, and then ultimately Prabhupada is mentioned in that line. So please try to memorize some of this disciplic succession. We should know who are gurus or who which parampara we are following. So we are following this particular parampara.
Can you tell the page number, Mataji, please?
Mataji, page number may be different for you. Is your Bhagavad Gita like this, like the small?
Yes. It's hard a copy of Bhagavad Gita.
Hard copy, maybe different page, but right before the first chapter. The page
Right
just before the first chapter, after introduction.
Okay.
When the between introduction and first chapter, between those two, the disciplic succession is given. Please know the disciplic succession as much as possible. So those are bona fide gurus if their knowledge is originating from Krishna. Krishna has to be the source of that knowledge. Nobody can say that they concocted, they thought about it, and it just appeared to them or something. It has to come from a bona fide Guru Shishya Parampara. So that's one point Prabhupada is making. Who can teach Bhagavad Gita? Our Guru has to be a bona fide representative of Krishna. Then Prabhupada is also saying demoniac person cannot understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, which means, so you can say a non-devotee basically cannot understand. So it has to be a devotee of Krishna. It cannot just be a regular ordinary philosopher or a scholar, okay? Somebody who just has knowledge of Sanskrit will not do, okay? You have to be a devotee of Krishna, because devotee means somebody who has a relationship with Krishna, somebody who has, because the purpose of any dharma, purpose of spiritual science is to reawaken our relationship with Krishna. A devotee, a pure devotee of Lord who has already reawakened their own relationship with Krishna can give the knowledge in such a way that it will reawaken the relationship of other souls also in their own life. Somebody who does not have a relationship with Krishna cannot transform your life to, or re-establish your relationship with Krishna. So it has to be delivered by a pure devotee of the Lord. Like we are reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita because Prabhupada is a pure devotee of the Lord. Krishna is speaking to Arjun because Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. Such a devotee will have faith in Krishna. They will have they will have faith in the words of Krishna, faith in instructions of Krishna. Okay. They will understand that what Krishna is speaking is aparushya. It is not of this world. It is not spoken by a purush, an ordinary person of this world. This is not just a mundane, ordinary scholar or philosopher, okay, who has concocted something. This is the absolute truth. This is the supreme science that is given by Krishna at the beginning of creation to Brahmaji, or at the beginning of a Manvanta to sun god, like that. So he will have faith in the knowledge of given by Krishna. So somebody who has faith, somebody who has a relationship with Krishna, when you understand Bhagavad Gita from their commentaries, then you can reawaken the love of Godhead in your heart. Otherwise, from a non-devotee who does not have a relationship himself, does not have faith himself, he does not understand the supreme position of Krishna, who does not understand that Krishna is not just a Mahapurush. Most people think Krishna is just some Mahapurush or a Mahatma, just some great soul who had this knowledge and gave it to Arjun. He's not just a great soul who has learned this knowledge and gave it to Arjun. He is the source of this knowledge. He is the original. So Krishna is establishing himself as the source of this knowledge in this chapter. This is very important. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is transcendental knowledge. It's not like any other book written by any ordinary person. So you have to understand this. Unless we understand this is coming from God, we will not be able to have faith in it. And we have to know that Krishna is the God. That's why when he says Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, it is being spoken by Bhagwan himself. So have full faith in the instructions of God. And some person who has faith in this, in the instructions of God, can instill faith, can instill conviction in other people. Somebody who is not convinced himself about Krishna's supremacy, who does not himself have faith, cannot convince other people. You have to first have conviction yourself, faith yourself, relationship yourself. Then only you can convince other people, instill faith in other people, transform the lives of other people. So we should not read any other Bhagavad Gita written by mundane, ordinary people of this world, whether Mahatma, Mahapurushas, etc., because they do not have a relationship with Krishna. So, very important point mentioned by Prabhupada.
माताजी
Yes, Mata.
माताजी ये इस वर्स में जैसे ये बताया गया डिसिप्लिन
Mataji, will you
सक्सेशन
speak in English? Certain
okay.
and devotees may not follow. Yes.
All right. Mataji, in this verse, it has been explained that disciplic succession was broken before it was, the knowledge was lost before it was transmitted by Krishna to Arjun 5,000 years back. So does that mean that Gita existed even before Krishna spoke first to Arjuna? It was existing before. I was just curious that this knowledge existed. It was not the first time that Shri Krishna spoke these words or this gyan or this instructions to the Arjuna, but this knowledge was existing before even the start we could ever think of Manus and all that, and it was transmitted by God Himself. And then when it was lost, only then in order to re-establish or reinvent or uh, re-instruct this knowledge, Krishna again spoke in the form of Bhagavad Gita as we know of today. That's my question.
Yes, Mataji. So, Mataji, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, right? So the knowledge comes from Krishna. Krishna instills the knowledge at the beginning of creation to Brahmaji. This knowledge is timeless. This is eternal. Okay. It is re-established time to time by Lord or by Lord's representatives. Okay. Even now, if you see, like we are reading it again, right? And then we finished it a few years back. Then we took it up again because we keep forgetting. It's like I bathed yesterday, but then I got dirty again today. So I have to bathe again today. So the knowledge keeps disappearing over time. So periodically it has to be reestablished because it is such a subtle science, which is very, difficult to understand unless conveyed by very pure people. So since people keep becoming impure, the purity of the knowledge keeps getting lost and the knowledge keeps getting lost. But I'm just addressing your previous point. Krishna is the Bhagwan. So he has no beginning, no end. He is the original person that imparts the knowledge in the heart of Brahmaji. Tene brahmaridaya adikave muyanti yatsurya tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. This is the first verse of Bhagavatam, which says that Krishna is the source of everything. Janmadya asya yato anvayad itaratas. He's the source of everything. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. To that Adi Kavi Brahma, he gave the knowledge in his heart. Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. That knowledge, Muyanti Yat Surya. That knowledge which bewilders even all the Suragana. Suragana are demigods. That knowledge which bewilders all the Suras. That God who resides in his eternal dham, dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam, who always resides in his dham. He gives this knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, who is the supreme personality of Godhead. So, Vyasadeva says that to that Supreme Lord I bow down, right? Satyam param dhimahi. To that absolute truth I pay all my obeisances. So he's the source of all knowledge. He establishes this knowledge over and over again. At the beginning of each day of Brahmaji, it is given. At the beginning of each Manvantar, it is given. Whenever there is an annihilation, it is re-established. Krishna comes every day of Brahmaji. So he establishes this knowledge. It's like a teacher who comes every day and visits, comes to take a class. So he visits every day of Brahmaji and re-establishes this knowledge. So this is not the first time it's being spoken. It's been spoken many and many times over and over again by himself and by his representatives. So very important point to understand. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. I was thinking it was first spoken to the Arjuna, but I was clarified now. I am clarified now.
So
Thank you,
many
Mataji.
histories we have already understood, right? So one history where Krishna is speaking it to Bhagavad Gita. Please follow, right? Krishna is speaking to Arjun. Arjun, this knowledge is being recorded by Vyasadeva, and it is coming in this book form to us, and we are receiving it. This is one history of Bhagavad Gita. Another history of Bhagavad Gita is that Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahmaji. Brahmaji gives it to his son Narad Muni. Narad Muni gives it to his disciple Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva gives it to his disciple Madhvacharya. In that line it goes. Another line that goes from Vyasadeva is that of Bhagavatam, where Vyasadeva gives it to Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami gives to Parikshit Maharaj, and Sut Goswami. That line goes. So many dharas of knowledge are going on, right? And then in each Vaishnav tradition, there are 4 Vaishnav traditions. The knowledge is going. Like Krishna gives it to Rudra. Krishna gives it to Lakshmi ji. So there is Shri Sampradaya. Then there is Rudra Sampradaya. Then like that there is Kumar. It is given to 4 Kumaras. So the Kumaras. And it is given to Brahmaji. So Brahma Sampradaya. Like that. So many dharas, many channels of spiritual knowledge are going at different points of time. So please understand that. And Krishna is mentioning another dhara altogether that I gave it to Sun God, which is a completely different channel. I gave it to, he's giving at the beginning of this particular Manu, when this knowledge was established. So he's given that particular channel. It is given to Sun God to Manu, Manu to Ikshvaku. So in this particular Chaturyuga, how this knowledge was established, that's what Krishna is giving. So many channels this knowledge is given, but it has been given over and over again since time immemorial.
Thank you, Mataji.
So this is one thing we have to hear. Main point I wanted to establish was that Bhagavad Gita should be heard as it is, with the same intent that Krishna wants to convey the knowledge to us. So Krishna's most important intent is to reawaken our relationship with him. So his most important intent of giving Bhagavad Gita is devotional, the devotional content of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, there are motivational aspects to Bhagavad Gita. There are philosophical aspects. Some people read Bhagavad Gita to understand Sanskrit, to understand grammar, to understand history, whatever, to debate with each other. All those are very low principles. They're very, very, they're not the core, the essence of Bhagavad Gita. That's not the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is its devotional content. Okay, it's to establish our relationship with Krishna. But of course, it can be used to improve our life, to live a better life as a human, to achieve our full potential. So it has a motivational aspect as well. But some people just take it on a very external level and they get caught up in the external details of grammar, etc. That's not very relevant. Okay. So then they miss the point, right? They miss the essence of Bhagavad Gita, the heart of Krishna's instructions. So don't listen from such people. Let's go to next verse, 4.3. Sa evayam maya te adya, sa evayam maya te adya, yoga prokta puratana, yoga prokta puratana, bhaktosi me sakha cheti,
Bhaktosi me sakha cheti,
rahasyam hi etaduttamam.
rahasyam
Etaduttamam. Can somebody read the translation?
Hey Krishna, I can read Mataji.
Yes.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
Mataji, let me just show the Sanskrit. Very important verse. This basically tells us why Krishna chose Arjun for this knowledge. So basically, who is a suitable candidate for hearing Bhagavad Gita? Like we say, who is the ripe fruit? Who has a very cultivated soil in their heart so that this plant of Bhagavad Gita can take root. So why Arjun? So he's saying, I'll just show you the important words here. So yoga means the science of relationship with, so please know the meaning of word yoga. If anybody asks you, as a student of Bhagavad Gita, we should all know that the word yoga means connection with Supreme, right? We were talking about relationship with Supreme or connection with Supreme. So yoga is not just physical postures, not just exercises. Yoga means establishing a relationship with Supreme. This is the main essential function of Bhagavad Gita, to establish, re-establish our lost relationship with Supreme, yoga. Puratana. So this ancient spiritual science is being now spoken by me to you. So Krishna said, I spoke this to all these people, right? Now I'm speaking it to you. Maya te adya. So by me to you, adya means today. So today I'm speaking it to this ancient science to you, Puratana, this very ancient science to you. Why? Because you are my bhakto, bhakto sime, you are my devotee, you are my bhakta. Sakha cheti, as well as you are my friend. Rahasyam, so I'm giving you this confidential knowledge, this mystery. Uttamam, this transcendental mystery, this divine mystery I'm sharing with you because you are my devotee and my friend. So this is very important to Krishna, that we become his friend, we have a relationship with him. Then everything is revealed to us. So this is what we have discussed many, many times, that when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, right now we do not have a relationship with Krishna. So people keep reading Bhagavad Gita but are not able to understand its mysteries. That's why Bhagavad Gita is often called open mystery. Okay? Open mystery. Like the book is available to everyone, but no matter how many times you read, you cannot enter into the mysteries of Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna, this is Krishna's heart. He will not reveal his heart to you if you do not have a relationship with him. So when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we should simultaneously try to establish relationship with him. And that's why Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is so wonderful, because Prabhupada gives us how to establish our relationship with him side by side. Krishna has not come to that. Prabhupada already starts giving us instructions like start eating prasadam, go in association of devotees, start chanting holy names, visit programs and temples, and all right. Krishna, Prabhupada already gives us all this knowledge of devotional service, how to establish relationship with him, because he knows we will not understand Bhagavad Gita unless we have a relationship with Krishna. Krishna will not reveal the deepest mysteries of Bhagavad Gita just because you have some intellectual ability, just because you know English or Sanskrit or something. The qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita is not that you know Sanskrit or English or grammar, or you are very intellectually advanced or very superior brains or something, you're a scientist or a scholar or something. The qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita is this, that you are my Sakha and my Bhakta. Imagine even for us how much this is important, right? We will not share our heart. We will not give instructions to somebody who does not have a relationship with us, who is not our friend, right? Um, who does not have faith in us, who is not favorable with us, somebody who's envious of us. We will not share anything of anything valuable with them, right? We will not reveal our heart. We will only share our confidences or give instructions or give our teachings to people that are very that have a relationship with us, right? That like I'll teach my kid, but I'm not going to instruct a neighbor's kid because I have a relationship with my kid. Somebody who has accepted my authority, I will only teach to that person. I will not teach to somebody who does not accept my authority or who does not have faith or relationship with me. If that is true for us, for a parent or for a regular ordinary teacher, how much that is true for Krishna? Because Krishna is revealing even more supreme science. So so understand Krishna's heart, that Krishna will reveal these mysteries, this rahasyam uttamam, to his devotee and his friend. Yes, Mataji, can you read this?
Yes. There are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjun as the recipient of this great science owing to his being a devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand this great mysterious science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentaries by the devotees, and some of them have commentaries by the demons. Commentation by the devotees is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Arjun accepts Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and any commentary on the Gita following in the footsteps of Arjun is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demonic, however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjun and thus be benefited by this great science of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Hari Bol.
Report. So again, same point that, so when Prabhupada says demoniac, please don't misunderstand. This means basically non-devotees. Not that, Prabhupada uses some very strong words, basically. The reason he's calling them demons is because even in Chaitanya Charitamrita and elsewhere and in other scriptures, it is mentioned that if we hear from materialistic people, it's like drinking milk that has been touched by a serpent. So our scriptures use very strong language sometimes, and in the same mood, Prabhupada uses strong language also. So our scriptures say that milk is very nourishing, milk is very fortifying for our body, very healthy. But when that milk has been touched by a snake, by a serpent, then that milk becomes poisoned. So similarly, if we hear from Vaishnavas who do not come in a proper Vaishnav tradition or Vaishnav chain or disciplic succession, right, Guru Shishya Parampara, then such Vaishnavas or materialistic people are like serpents, basically. They're like demons. Hearing from them will make us just more materialistic and not give us the real devotional purports or import of Bhagavad Gita. So here is another understand. So think about this. Even Prabhupada, when we are reading this Bhagavad Gita, I always say, and this has worked very well for me. If you want to understand this supreme science, we need to have a relationship with Prabhupada. We need to have a very strong relationship with Prabhupada, and each of us needs to explore that relationship with Prabhupada by reading his books, by hearing his classes, or by reading his letters, by hearing his morning walk sessions, all those things, right? We should have a relationship with Prabhupada, okay? Because through him we can understand our relationship with Krishna. Because even Prabhupada's words can be distorted by people. Because somebody, I've seen people will say, oh, Prabhupada is calling these people demons or useless or waste of time. So which means, does that mean these other Bhagavad Gitas are waste of time? These other people are demoniac. So people will distort even Prabhupada's words. I have even seen devotees distort Prabhupada's words because scriptures are very contextual. Please understand this point very, very clearly. Scriptures have to be used in right context. So only a very pure devotee can, a very pure soul can help you understand how to apply the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is full of principles. Which principle you have to apply in this situation and how to apply that principle correctly is very important. Sometimes we think we have read Bhagavad Gita, we have knowledge, so I know which principle to apply and how to apply it. But we do it wrongly. Okay. So please understand this, that scriptures have to be used in right context. And sometimes people take scriptures in wrong context. Sometimes people take Prabhupada's teachings also in wrong context. So Prabhupada has, these messages that circulate. So people, even devotees, just to fulfill some um, agenda, something going on in their life, they will fit that particular quote of Prabhupada in their life. It's laughable actually. Do not do that. We cannot use even Prabhupada's words out of context. Prabhupada has given different instructions to different people at different points of time. He has written personal letters. In one letter, he will say, take sannyas to somebody. In another letter, he would say, don't worry so much about chanting, worry about preaching. In one, he would say, don't worry about preaching, just focus on chanting. In somebody, he will say, you are meant to take sannyas. In somebody, he will say, stay grasta, don't take sannyas. These type of teachings are all very contextual. They're very individualized. They're very personal. Which teaching to use and how to apply that teaching in your life, we are very immature to understand. So please do not just apply these in a blanket way to fit any personal agenda of yours, any some small superficial external motive that you have. Don't just fit either Prabhupada's teachings or our scriptural statements or Krishna's statements to just fit some agenda of yours, which is what other people that Prabhupada is calling demoniac do with Bhagavad Gita. They just waste their time. It is just a waste of time to read such Bhagavad Gitas in which people are just promoting their own agendas, and they are not authorized representatives of Krishna. They do not have mature spiritual intelligence, do not have relationship with Krishna. So please, so this is the point Prabhupada keeps making. Let me see what else we mentioned here. I think if you are okay, can we read one more? Because here Arjun will ask a very important question that Puja Mataji was also asking. Let's read one more. Arjunuvacha. Arjunuvacha. Aparam bhavato janma. Aparam bhavato janma. Param janma vivasvata. Param janma vivasvata. Katham etad vijaniyam. Katham etad vijaniyam. Tvam adau proktavaniti. Tvam adau proktavaniti. Can somebody read this translation? Who hasn't read yet that can read? Hiral Mataji, want to read? Or Rekha Mataji?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, go ahead.
Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him?
Let me just show Sanskrit very quick. So Arjun is asking the same thing. Aparam means junior by birth. Bhavato is equivalent to aap in Hindi. You know how we have respectful address of aap in Hindi? Similarly, bhavato is a very respectful way of addressing someone. That you are junior by birth, param janma. You are junior by birth to Vivaswan, to sun god. Param janma vivasvata. He is senior by birth. He came many, many years before you. Katham etad vijanyam. How shall I understand? Vijanyam means understand. How can I understand? In the big, other means other word is very common. In the beginning, that in the beginning you spoke this knowledge to him. So Arjun is also confused that I don't understand. He was born before you. How could you have spoken this to him? So Arjun is thinking that Krishna is in the same timeline as him, that Krishna was also born around the same time as him. He is his cousin, his friend. So he was just born in the same time zone. So how can he have taught this to sun god, who is way senior? Okay, Mataji, please read.
Perfect. Arjuna is an accepted devotee of the Lord. So how could he not believe Krishna's words? The fact is that Arjun is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in Supreme Personality of Godhead, or for the demons who do not like the idea of Krishna should be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them only, Arjun inquires on this point, as if he were himself not aware of the personality of Godhead or Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter, Arjun knew perfectly well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of everything, and the last word in transcendence. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal original person, is very difficult for an ordinary man to understand. Therefore, to clarify this point, Arjun put this question before Krishna so that he himself could speak authoritatively that Krishna is the supreme that Krishna is the supreme authority. Sorry, I lost Mataji.
No, I'm sorry. Here.
That Krishna is the supreme authority is accepted by the whole world, not only at present, but from time immemorial, and the demons alone reject him. Anyways, Sri Krishna is the authority accepted by all. Arjun put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being depicted by the demons who always try to distort him in a way understandable to the demon and their followers. It is necessary that everyone, for his own interest, know the science of Krishna. Therefore, when Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is auspicious for all the words, all the worlds. To the demons, such explanations by Krishna himself may appear to be strange because the demon always study Krishna from their own standpoint. But those who are devotee heartily welcome the statements of Krishna when they are spoken by Krishna himself. The devotee will always worship such authoritative statement of Krishna because they are always eager to know more and more about him. The atheist who consider Krishna an ordinary man may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman, that he is Satchit Anand Vigraha, the eternal form of bliss and Mataji, can you scroll up? The eternal form of bliss and knowledge. That he is transcendental and that he is above the domination of the modes of material nature and above the influence of time and space. A devotee of Krishna like Arjun is undoubtedly above any misunderstanding of the transcendental position of Krishna. Arjun's putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of person who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being subject to the modes of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So basically here, Arjun is now asking, how can you have given this knowledge to sun god? So Prabhupada is describing that it's not that Arjun does not know. Arjun is a dear friend and devotee of the Lord. So he understands Krishna's supreme position as Bhagwan. But this is, again, Arjun is in a role-playing situation right now. He's playing a role that Krishna wants him to play. He's playing the role of a student, and he's basically an instrument of transmitting this knowledge to general people. So Arjuna is like an interviewer who's asking these questions on behalf of people like us, ordinary people. So that ordinary people will not be confused, he's posing this question. In fact, all this whole confusion that came over Arjun, this depression, all this is, basically a Leela of Krishna. And he's using his very dear devotee to help him in this Leela, to help him in this pastime. So Arjuna is now in this position where he is asking these questions from Krishna so that this knowledge will be very clear to us. So from the very beginning, we are being told that Krishna is now Krishna will start talking about his supremacy. So Arjuna is giving him a platform to speak about it. Arjuna is saying that, please tell me, how is this possible that you spoke to sun god? Because Krishna, like an interviewer will say, what is your qualification to speak this? Or who are you? So then the speaker will elaborate on his qualification. He will sort of mention all his training or all his experiences or his supremacy in that particular field, like that. So Krishna will now speak about his divinity, about his supremacy, how he's the supreme lord, how he comes at different times. He'll talk about his incarnations, his appearances, how his appearances are very unique. Why does he come? In what forms he comes? He'll talk about that in next few verses. So Arjuna is establishing from the very get-go Krishna's supremacy, so that rest of the Bhagavad Gita, we understand we are not hearing from just an ordinary person, we are hearing from Bhagwan, which means this is Param Satya, absolute truth. This knowledge is infallible. This is Aparushya, this is Ved Vakya. This is directly coming from the source of all knowledge. So this has to be accepted as such as it is. And we do not need to doubt Krishna's instructions, have faith in him. So in this way, Arjuna is giving that platform to Krishna. I think we'll stop. The main understanding so far is that this is the history of Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada keeps reinforcing this fact that we should hear from the devotee of the Lord. We should read those commentaries which are written by a pure devotee of Lord, like this Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it is said, it is very famously said that transparent transmission of transcendental knowledge causes transformation. Transparent transmission of transcendental knowledge causes transformation. But in other, other philosophers or speculators, they tend to muddle up this transcendental knowledge. They tend to muddy the clear waters of this supreme science. So we don't need to drink the muddy waters. We need to drink the clear, pure water, the pure science as given by the Lord himself. Okay, that's all I have to share. Any questions or?
Yes, Mataji. So
Yes,
this Prabhupada's talking about demons. So in the age of Kali, what do demons means? Like people who are atheists, do not believe in Krishna, or do not understand Krishna's knowledge, or
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Yes. So that's why I was clarifying. I think I deviated from that point. So sometimes Prabhupada will use very strong words for ordinary people. Ordinary, or Prabhupada keeps calling them mundane. Mundane means that are very ordinary understanding, that are just engaged, absorbed in this world, and they just want to make their life comfortable in this world. They don't have any desire to connect with Bhagwan. They don't want to establish a relationship of love with him. They don't want to go back to Godhead, or at the most, they may have desire for liberation at the most, but there is no desire for service of Lord. There is no desire to go back home and serve Lord with loving devotional service. So those people, sometimes Prabhupada uses very strong language, non-devotees, materialistic people. They are sometimes referred to as demons because they are deviate in the name of giving spiritual knowledge. They are distracting people from the ultimate goal. Spiritual science is meant to connect people with their Father, with their supreme source, with the Lord. And these people are distracting and keeping them engaged in this world. Become patriotic or just do charitable acts in this world, and that's enough. Manav seva hi Madhav seva hai. That kind of notions, that is the highest service you can do, just serving, just giving alms to poor, or these kind of things. So they just keep them engaged in this world because they do not give any devotional aspect to Bhagavad Gita at all. So Prabhupada uses very strong language. That's why we should have a relationship with Prabhupada so we can understand mood of Prabhupada. Just like if my mother may call me rascal, or call me names, right? Iska dimag kharab hai, ye pagal hai. So that sounds very sweet to me when it comes from my mom. But if it comes from some random person on the street that I do not have a relationship with, then that sounds like that sounds like a bad word, right? So I will not take it nicely. So similarly, when Prabhupada says demons, rascals, foolish people, um, he is using strong language for basically non-devotees or materialistic people that are distracting the spiritual seekers. So, so if we have relationship with Prabhupada, we understand his heart, that sometimes the very pure souls use very strong language for ordinary people, just to shake them out, just to shake them from their engagement in this world. Even very great philosophers also do this. I was sharing with Nagarjuna Prabhu once that even if you read books of like Socrates or Plato or Aristotle or these scholars, they will also use very strong language for ordinary people who are just absorbed in this world and just engaging in sense gratification and wasting their life. Even they use very strong language. So Prabhupada definitely, who's a Vaikuntha man, he's a pure devotee of the Lord. He uses sometimes words like rascals or dogs or demons for ordinary people that are just distracting the sincere spiritual seekers. Does that make sense, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Everybody's practically a demon in the Kali Yuga. There are no
Yeah.
outside demons. The demons are within.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, why it is called as the science, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Always it's mentioned great science, great science. Is it because of its application aspect or something else?
Yeah, if you keep speaking, I think you will get to the right understanding. So tell me, what do you think science means? I know you're a very scientific person yourself.
No, Mataji, not really. But yeah, science, it's like it's science. It's an applied knowledge or the um, I do not have the words, but I know it's the knowledge which we use to make the things work around or to understand some concepts or then to apply them to make our life easier or to understand the functioning or the physiology. If we talk about medical science, the physiology, anatomy, or the pathology, or the uh, like the different aspects of it to better understand its function and how it can be applied or make use of it to make our life better or in order to harness that knowledge for the benefit of
Wow.
the mankind.
There, you got it. I told you, if you keep speaking, you'll get to it.
Sorry, Mataji, if I chose the wrong question, but
No. The question is wrong, not wrong. There is never a wrong question. So I'll tell you just in few words. Your understanding is perfect. So science basically means Vigyan, which means that something that can be proven by application. So scientific experiment always starts with a hypothesis, right? I think you know
yes,
that there is a hypothesis.
yes,
So there is a statement or a principle. Then it is like, for example, I say water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. This is a statement, this is a fact. Now, this hypothesis can be proven by actually boiling the water, and you see that the water will boil at 100 degrees. So now, hence proved, right? So the scientific experiment, that theorem, that formula, that principle, that hypothesis is correct. So this is called science. So so the principles, the formulas, so Bhagavad Gita is a book of formulas. All these formulas mentioned in Bhagavad Gita can be applied in our life, and we will see the transformation happen. But the key is to understand it from the right person in the right mood. Okay, your mood also has to be right. It has to be a submissive spirit, not a challenging spirit. So we will talk about that. It has to be a devotional, prayerful mood, right? It should not be an argumentative mood. It should be a serving spirit. In that mood, one can understand. So if we do the experiment with the right instruments, okay, instrument has to be right. So if the water boils, but let's say instead of putting thermometer in the boiling water, I put some other instrument, let's say some other instrument of measurement, which does not measure temperature, which measures, like, let's say volume or pressure or power or density or something else, then it will not tell me the temperature, right? So the instruments have to be right. So that's why right book, spoken by right person, understand in the right mood. If we do this proper experiment, then you will see that it works. Okay. So the knowledge works. It's absolute truth. It works. If we are not able to, if we are not getting the correct results, that means our instruments are wrong, or we are not, something is wrong about our experiment. Sometimes experiments fail, right? Which means we are not doing the experiment correctly. But this is science because it can be proven. It is evidence-based. Okay. So that's the understanding. That's why it's called Gyan, which is knowledge, and Vigyan, which is realized knowledge or applied knowledge, the practical knowledge. So it has to be applied. So that's why I encourage that we should start applying it at the same time as we are reading it, right from the first chapter. Don't wait to finish Bhagavad Gita and then start applying it, because as you apply and as you see that the experiments are becoming successful on a daily basis, day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis, then that increases our faith in this knowledge.
Right, right. Thank you, Mataji. It makes sense. Thank you.
I was going to share something else. I forgot. I don't know what else. Anybody else has any other questions? Oh yeah, I was going to share. It's another analogy given is that Bhagavad Gita is like a cookbook. So cookbook, you can your stomach will not be full unless you cook the recipes given in the cookbook. So this is a cookbook. Let's say this is full of recipes, but you have to
Okay.
cook those recipes to feel nourished, to feel fortified. Otherwise, you will not feel healthy or fortified unless you cook those recipes. Just reading those recipes will not help. So just gyan will not help. That's why we emphasize on the scientific part of it. Just like any other, you mentioned so many sciences, physiology, anatomy, chemistry. We prove different aspects of our material existence through those knowledges. Similarly, this knowledge can also be proven. So start cooking. As you're reading a recipe, cook it, eat it, so that you can, it will nourish you, it will fortify you, and you will see that it works. So,
Assimilation and application. Does that mean?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Assimilate this knowledge and absorb it, apply it, okay? Adapt it in your life.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Any other points or any other questions, realizations? Who hasn't shared anything that wants to share something? Sheetal Mataji, Chetan Prabhu, Avni, Ramchandra.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
With the first verse, I was just thinking, that I was also thinking that how come this knowledge is like so new, like 5,000 years old, and it was always a question. I've never gone to fourth chapter, so I did not know. But I've always thought that like the soul is eternal, a relationship to Krishna is kind of eternal, so this cannot be new. So, it's just that we're just learning it now, but it's really not that new. So that question got cleared in that first verse of Bhagavad Gita. That with our souls being eternal, relationship with Krishna being eternal, although we forgot on the way. So yeah, that was a good understanding.
Yes, Mataji. The eternal knowledge since time immemorial. Okay, anybody else wants to share anything? Krishna says in chapter 15, Sarvasya chaham riddhi sanivishto matta smritirjnanamohanam cha vedescha sarverahameva vedyo vedant krid ved eva chaham. So the last two lines of that verse is very relevant. He says, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo. That out of all the Vedic knowledge, I am to be known by I'm the conclusion, the summum bonum, the essence of Vedic knowledge. I am to be known by all the Vedic knowledge. So if some philosopher and scholar does not come to this understanding that Krishna is the ultimate understanding of Vedic knowledge, then their knowledge is waste. Okay, they miss the point. Vedant krit ved vid eva chaham. I am the source, I am the creator, the from whom the Vedas were created. Vedant Krid. I created the Vedas. Vedant Krid, Ved Vid. I'm the knower of Vedas and I'm to be known by Vedas. So he made the Vedas. He's to be known by the Vedas and he's the knower of the Vedas as well. Vedant krid ved vid eva chaham. So, so it's given multiple times in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam also. Okay, if no other thoughts to share or realizations, we can stop. I'm seeing something in the chat.
I am good, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining. Please feel free to ask any questions or realizations. Last time you and Ishwar Prabhu asked many beautiful questions. They add to our understanding every time.
Yes, Mataji. I started learning. So I started in first chapter. It's very beautiful, and it's more than my work, more than my AI. So I'm using AI in my work, but it's very beautiful. So when I understanding the first three slokas themselves. So I will start, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I will continue.
Okay, so we'll stop for today and join next Sunday. Krishna will speak about his incarnations. The science of incarnations is it's a whole study. It's a whole very big subject matter in itself.
Yes,
But
yes, Mataji. But we
Krishna
cannot
gives.
believe incarnation because we are not seeing. Yes,
Yeah, right.
no,
But
no.
Krishna will give us.
I believe, but I am not able to see that proof. So,
Sure. Sure. Yes, true. So we'll see what Krishna has to say about that in next few verses.
yeah.
He will talk about his appearance, his incarnations, the purpose of his incarnation in various forms and everything. So we'll stop for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Very grateful to each and every one of you. Vancha kaltarubhischa kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namah Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya namo namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.